Okay, so picture this. There's this new movie that just came out. It's got some solid buzz and marketing, while lighter than expected, that was decent enough to convince people to go see it. Then a few days later, Variety reports that, even with the $100 million grossed, the movie only made less than half of its budget, estimated to be around $250 million, over the opening weekend. This leads to randos on Twitter saying that the movie is cooked and is officially a flop. Cut to a few weeks later, and the movie manages to leg out to, let's say, $600 million worldwide. And that looks to be a win, right? Well, then comes random Twitter user number 397, who puts on their nerdy glasses and tells everyone, actually it needs $720 million to break even, so therefore it's still a flop. They just come out of nowhere, have no source to back themselves up, and yet they still act like they know more than everyone else, and it just makes you want to shove them in their vandalized locker, doesn't it? While this may seem like some weird troll trying to make people angry, this is actually a more common mindset than you think. Whenever a movie manages to gross 2 times or 2.5 times its budget, it's going to spark a debate amongst film enthusiasts about whether the movie in question made a profit or flopped. And it happens a lot. Like, a movie is no doubt considered a flop when it makes less than its budget, and unquestionably a success when grossing $1 billion, but seeing a movie gross a certain gap between its budget is enough to make someone pull out their make-believe calculator and try to lecture you on why cinemas actually lost money. The box office is a very complicated discussion, and by that, I mean its system. Despite what people on social media say, nobody actually knows how the box office works other than studios and theaters, and any industry professional or analyst is going to give you a variety of different answers that are just unofficial estimates. So it's pretty much become not just a question of how it actually works, but also on who the hell is even correct. Actually, the answer to that one's obvious. Today I want to swim around the box office system, see why this information is so tightly sealed, and Twitter pundits' obsession with these kind of numbers. Please keep in mind that I am in no way an expert on how the system works, and it's why you're not gonna get some sort of explanation on such. If you clicked on this video to get that answer, then sorry for disappointing you, but I do actually have something to say about the box office system, so hold your complaints. Oh, what the hell, I know you've already clicked on this video without getting through the first second of it to get mad at me for something I didn't even say. But first, an important announcement. Are you a fan of my channel and want to help support me further? Which means paying my apartment bills. Well, lucky for you, I have opened up memberships! Oh my god! Oh jeez, oh my god! The new Miyachi membership comes in 3 tiers. If you're subscribed to the Time of Friends tier, starting at $2.99, you'll get cool looking emojis, behind the scenes content, and exclusive videos, including sneak peeks at my upcoming releases. If you're subscribed to the Time of Kings tier, starting at $4.99, you'll get all the previous perks, including special shoutouts at the end of my videos. And finally, if you're subscribed to the Time of Gods tier, starting at $9.99, you'll get all the previous perks, and including polls, and early access to my new completed uploads. No specific time, but you'll see them before everyone else does. So what are you waiting for? The Miyachi membership is now live. Subscribe today if you want to. Okay, shameless promotion over. Back to the video. It's common knowledge that the basics of the box office system are that whatever a certain movie grosses, theaters across the globe take a certain cut of that money, meaning that a movie would need to make a specific amount beyond its budget to break even and then become profitable, but regardless, if it makes just as much or less than how much it cost, then it's obviously a flop. And this part is what everyone seems to agree on. The only thing they can agree on. Information on the workings of the box office system is all over the place. And I don't just mean from randos on social media, but even film analysts as well. Not calling them liars at all before you get the wrong idea, but these people are just analysts. They don't work in Hollywood, but they are just analyzing what they see, and their guesses on how much a movie profits or loses are based on common practices within the industry. It's why you see them use words like estimate and reportedly. What they say is supposed to be taken with a grain of salt. They aren't always gonna be right, but they work with what they're given by insiders, including a film's budget, which, by the way, are also commonly estimated and not always accurate. Who knew? But the one big thing that nobody can seem to come to a consensus on is calculating everything. Analysts typically use a rule of thumb multiplier by the production budget to calculate how much a movie needs to break even and start getting money, but it all depends on a variety of factors like what percentage theaters take, the marketing, distribution, and residuals, which is where things get seriously complicated. There's many reports that theaters take about a 50% average cut, but there's also reports of the cut starting at 10% on opening weekend and then gradually increasing over 3 weeks to 50, and overseas cinemas taking a larger cut separate from China for some reason. And I guess they're reasonable maths given the complexity of them, but I don't feel like they're telling the full picture. What I don't see many of these people think about is that studios often negotiate either with actors and directors to allow them to eat up a share of the box office revenue, or with theaters to take a larger cut in certain movies, changing any goalpost a movie needs to become profitable, and making things a lot more confusing. When you actually look into this topic more, you're gonna find yourself with more questions than answers. But the most important one is, who do we believe? I mean, these analysts do have some experience with the film industry, so it'd be hard not to trust them. And again, I'm not saying you can't, but their answers on the box office are always varying. The only people who have a clear answer are the studio and theater executives, and they don't even make it out in the open. Unless somebody does it for them without their permission. And I know you're gonna ask, well, why don't they tell everyone how the box office actually works to end the confusion? I feel like the reason they don't do that is obvious, but let me break it down. First of all, investors. While investors and shareholders mostly care about the overall health of a studio, showing how much they exactly profit or lose from a film would be revealing a little too much. It would be a good image if shareholders saw how much money something like Avengers Endgame earned, but it would come at the cost of also having to reveal the numbers of big flops like Indiana Jones 5 and The Flash, which I imagine would cause panic amongst shareholders. From a business perspective, it's better to let an investor look at the numbers and determine themselves. Results are always going to depend on the person, but doing so can keep the waters settled and not have a movie take any direct hit on the studio stock market. Though secondly, Hollywood has had a pretty shady history with its accounting. Creative accounting is a way too common trick that movie studios use to mask profits and avoid paying the people who actually deserve the money. Basically, a studio will either create shell companies for a specific movie so in the way they are charging themselves, or they shift the loss from one project onto another project that's actually successful, aka the opposite of hiding losses. The first recorded instance of this happening was with Star Wars Episode 6 Return of the Jedi, where the late David Prowse, who portrayed Darth Vader in costume, was never paid by Lucasfilm due to him saying the film never made a profit, despite making over $400 million worldwide on a budget of around $32.5 million. Then the first lawsuit of the strategy occurred in 1988 with the release of Coming to America, where late comedic writer Urge Birchwold sued Paramount Pictures for not giving him credit or residuals for coming up with the story idea years prior. The studio tried to claim it actually lost money despite grossing almost $300 million worldwide on a reported $28 to $36 million budget, but the judge saw through their bullshit and forced them to pay Birchwold $900,000. And you'd think that'd be the end of it, but no. Even with the lawsuits piling up, this is a legit scam in the industry that is still happening to this day. Spider-Man, Lord of the Rings, Bohemian Rhapsody, even the fifth f***ing Harry Potter, all were movies that grossed a large sum of money, only for the studios to say they were actually losses while hiding the money behind their pockets. Genuine real-life comic book villain shit that gets worse when you realize that it's actually legal. And that, kids, is why we need to overthrow capitalism. It's a lot to take in, I know, but it should give a good idea as to why movie studios are so secretive on how much movies gain profits, either for regular business reasons, or straight up hiding theft, hello. But still, it's not gonna stop terminally online film people from dancing around claiming they know how the box office works because some analyst told them so, and they're the only ones right about everything. In case you're asking, no, this is not episode 2 of Terminally Online Reviews. I'm honestly impressed with how people are so determined to hate on a movie that they just make up numbers to say out loud to the world that it's a bomb for no other reason other than to flaunt their insecurities. They're actually that pathetic. And I think that's why so many individuals in the film community care a lot about box office numbers like this. Either it be putting two studios in some fake made-up fantasy war, blaming audiences for no originality as if they have to rely on one studio for original movies, or on certain occasions telling strangers that the world is on the brink of collapse and because you bought tickets for this movie, you are contributing to it. It's all your fault and you should go die. Okay, I'm pro-Palestine myself, but guys, come on. And it's exhausting. This happens with almost every movie and I could not be more sick of it. I mean, it's normal to be happy when the movie you like succeeds, be sad when it fails, and become increasingly worried no matter the quality and no matter how it performs because there's a high chance the studio's gonna learn every single wrong lesson from how it does, but behavior like this is not only very unhinged, but it's also delusion. I don't know why people can't just say what they think of a movie then leave instead of being like, this garbage movie is flop flopping hard. Meanwhile, the better movie, kill yourself! So am I saying you should ignore box office numbers? Not at all. I mean, we wouldn't be having so many box office reporting sites if they just didn't matter. But what I am saying is that not only should you stop treating yourself like Dan Muro and act like you know everything about what goes on in Hollywood, but I also think you shouldn't let a movie's box office affect the way you look at it. No matter how many losers try and get a reaction out of you over something silly, your enjoyment of a movie does not depend on how it does financially. Wait, why do I have to elaborate? You know that already. At the end of the day, nobody truly knows how the box office works aside from executives, and to be honest, I think it's better staying off that way. There are many other problems in the film industry like the AI obsession and obvious greed that deserve to have more attention rather than how much money Elemental actually made. There's many answers we want to see from what the hell is actually going on in Hollywood, but the truth behind the inner workings of the box office is not one of them. As the old saying goes, some things are better kept a secret. At least for now. Until next time, I'm Miyachi. See you later, Tama friends.